Our first question is it's kind of a combo question from a lot of people, from Kristen, from Crystal, Sarah, Tessa, Vanessa, Laline, Mai, and Jeline. They all want to know, how do you decide when it's the right time to do a movie or sequel? And what made you choose to send Candace to space and to make her the main character instead of Phineas and Ferb?
The first part's easy. The decision was made when Disney called us and said, would you like to make a movie?
Yeah.
And we went, yeah.
Yeah, when they called me and said, do you want to make a movie? And I said, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. That's when you decide it's the right time, when somebody asks you to do it. We decided to have Candace be the main character for a couple of reasons. One was that we were trying to come up with a new story we hadn't told in 222 episodes of the series. And
there weren't many of them. Yeah,
and there weren't many left. So we said, well, what if we have a story where the boys are motivated into the story by jeopardy? Let's get somebody in some sort of danger and they have to go rescue. Let's have Candace get kidnapped by aliens and they have to go and rescue her. And that's the driving force of the movie. And that felt like a story we really hadn't told. Phineas and Ferb's usually just sort of a celebration. It's all driven by them having fun. And this way, we had it start a different way, but we still wanted to keep fun going while still having jeopardy. And it was sort of a tightrope wire, but
mostly we just wanted to change it up to make it more difficult for Vincent to do his job, because he'd gotten pretty used to what we were doing.
Yeah.
And now it's different. So
we like to throw
gotta mix it up,
curveball every once in a while. And also, a lot of the audience that used to be Phineas and Ferb's age is now closer to Candace's age or over, and it sort of it felt like it was her time. Plus, Ashley's a spectacular voice actress, and we wanted to give her a chance to shine.
Perfect. This question's for Vincent. And it's from Tessa Smith. How did it feel to get to voice Phineas again?
It was awesome getting to spend more time with Phineas. I mean, I spent 10 years playing Phineas on the series and doing the various hour-long specials that we did and the video games and everything. And I mean, this has been the most significant thing that I've ever done career-wise in my life. And this world and this character means so much to me. It was really, really fun when I heard we were going to get to do this movie. I mean, Phineas is so full of energy and full of excitement and just wants to make every day so great and have the best time. And that's a really fun personality and energy to get to spend time with in the booth. And that's a really fun time. The 10 years that I've had with it, every single time was a really great time. And all of these episodes that we've done and now the movie are all their own amazing, unique adventures. And so there's always something to look forward to at the end of the length of time that it takes to make something like this. In this case, this was 2 years. So it's always worth that wait.
Perfect. All right. So this question is from Marissa and Shannon Replies, and I apologize if I butcher anyone's names. Phineas and Ferb first aired over a decade ago on Disney Channel. What do you think makes the show so timeless or nostalgic? And what kind of original storylines and catchphrases from the show can we look forward to seeing in the new movie?
Well, I think that the reason that the show has sort of proved to be timeless is that it's just such the main thrust of the show is it's a celebration of creativity and imagination, and I think that those things never really go out of style. So I think that's what's kept it relevant all these years, is that it's celebrating sort of what is best about being a human being, I think. As far as we tried to hit on a lot of the catchphrases and a lot of the running gags from the show in the movie. As long as it didn't slow things down, we would put in references to stuff. And so there's a lot of Easter eggs for people. I think that the sound people make while they're exploding may end up being a catchphrase at some point. So we have these aliens that explode from the waist up if they get too excited, and it makes a very specific sound for those of you who've seen the movie. I think that's the thing. If I was watching it, that's the thing I would start repeating to people, on the playground.
I think one of the things that kept it relevant for people for so long too is that it was absolutely family viewing. We never neglected the parents or the older people in the room, but we tried to do it without alienating the younger people. And we've always said, don't underestimate the intelligence of the kids. They're much smarter than you think. And I think that creates a show that they can watch over and over again, and they can watch with their whole family, and there's something in there for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I grew up with the show, and a lot of people I know grew up with the show. And so at the start of it, it would have been a gigantic surprise had anyone said, this would have been so important to a generation of people. But then working on it and seeing what, obviously Swampy and Dan have done, but let alone all of our writers with the music and with these stories and with the humor, it just makes me so happy. Even seeing a lot of the people here today, it's parents with their kids, and everyone's equally as excited about this experience. And that's what's always really amazing about Phineas and Ferb fans, is it's usually people of all ages.
Great. So the next question is from Christy Mahies. Do parents and their children need to be familiar with the series or Phineas and Ferb, the movie Across the Second Dimension, in order to understand Phineas and Ferb, the movie, Candace Against the Universe?
Well, I can highly suggest that you watch the entire series, have a big giant stream of everything first, because you'll get some bonuses, but it's not required.
Yes, we made sure that the movie could be a starting point for people who had never seen the series, because there's a whole generation of kids growing up now who are the right age for this show that didn't grow up with this show on TV all the time. So we wanted to make sure that it was a good entry point.
We didn't
although kids who weren't born yet, it's sort of like a baby Mozart thing. Is like when people are going to have kids, they play Phineas and Ferb music. Apparently makes them smarter as they.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we can definitely advise watching and listening to Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
Yeah,
early.
There's a study that was done at the University of Dan and Swampy about that.
University of Danville.
Yeah.
All right, the next question is from Sarah Gilliland. It is, what was it like to get the original cast back together again to revisit these characters and their stories?
It was like going back for a reunion. It's all these people that we spent 10 years with, and then we see them periodically. A lot of them, but it was great to just get back together and do the thing that we used to do together. It's been just a joy. Every time we have somebody new come into the studio, there's like, oh, hey, Bobby's back, or Ashley's back. It was just so much fun. It was a great time.
It wasn't so exciting to see Vincent again because we're friends with him. So
we see him
know
all the
everything
time.
he's doing. We talk to him all the time. We know.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they've seen me too much.
Yes,
They're like, when you come into the studio, just wear a bag or something. We don't need to see you
we're
anymore.
actually seeking a restraining order against Vincent, because
no more seeing you. Everyone else, it's a reunion, but get out of our lives.
We started just recording him like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, the next question is from Crystal Everdeen. If you could go on any adventure with Phineas and Ferb, what would it be?
Ooh, I sure like the space adventures that we've done. We've sent them into space a couple of times, and never as far as this one, I think. But that sounds like fun to me, exploring out in the great beyond.
I loved the idea of chasing the sun around.
Yes.
That would be epic.
Yes. Yeah, we did an episode where they tried to make the longest day by circling the globe at the same speed as the sun.
That's what I was going for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can come with us.
All right, I'll be there too.
Okay.
Great. The next question is from Sarah Lemp's son, Taylor, who is age 12. Will Phineas and Ferb's mom ever actually finally see one of their inventions? And how do you think she would actually react?
Well, she does in Quantum Boogaloo. the episode Quantum Boogaloo, but everybody's grown up, so it's sort of a hollow victory for Candace. I think that the reaction that we did in the episode that turned out all to be Candace's dream inside of Perry's dream may be a little intense for Mom, but she would be really shocked if she found out that everything that Candace has been telling her is all true all summer, I think.
And Mom's a pretty good mom. I think she would be equal parts impressed with her kids' creativity and ingenuity.
Yes.
As well as also being aware that this might not be the smartest or safest thing to do in the backyard. But Mom's pretty good and understanding, and I think she loves the creativity of her kids. So it would be a difficult call. It's like, this is really amazing and totally impressive, but probably something you shouldn't be doing here.
Yes.
And also, she technically saw one of our amazing, it wasn't an invention, but achievements in Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together when we got Love Handle back.
That's right.
So she technically did also see that occur, and she seemed pretty cool with that. So
yeah,
you may not have realized that the boys set that all up.
Exactly.
But she did see it.
And it was impressive.
Great. The next question is from Lynette Fernandez. It's nice that Candace finally has a breakthrough about her relationship with her brothers. Is that the point of this film, or is there another message you're trying to convey?
I think that's that's the emotional message of the film. And when we were making the movie, we because there's other parts of the story, and we originally had them getting back together too early and realized that as soon as they get back together, the story that we're interested in, which is the emotional story between those characters, is over. And we had them getting back together too early, and then Candace was ganging up with them to help save the world afterward. And so it sort of felt like the story was over, and then we had like another 35 minutes of movie with another story. And so the more we juggled things around till that moment could happen later, the better the movie felt. Because I think that's what the movie really ends up being about, is Candace's relationship with her brothers. And that's what we like.
Our favorite moments tend to be when I mean, we understand what their relationship is, but when you remind people that they're siblings who love each other very much, and you have those emotional connections, it's really satisfying, because I think we're all like that to some degree with our siblings. Sure, they drive us crazy, but they're there for you.
Yeah.
And those are really, really moments worth working for in storytelling.
Yeah.
Great. The next question is from Marissa and Shannon. What have been some of your favorite songs from the series, and will there be any songs like Gitchy Gitchy Goo or the roller coaster song that fans will remember and be singing for years to come that are in the new film?
I think my favorite song is the Brick theme song. I think it's really the most.
It took as long to write as it did to sing.
Yeah.
It was there's a lot of great songs that I'm really proud of in the series. I really like Summer Belongs to You from our first hour-long special. I think that's one of the best songs we've written. I think Carpe Diem is one of the best songs we've written. I think the finale song that's called Time Spent / Curtain Call is really, that's a hard one for me to get through without.
Yeah, that one's really sad.
Yeah,
and,
I can't get through without
and then there's like just fun boppy songs like Gitchy Gitchy Goo and
Come Home Perry is really good as well.
Oh, Come Home Perry is lovely.
Come Home Perry's great. That was nominated for an Emmy. It's
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was nominated for an Emmy. It didn't win, which is why we never told you about it.
I like you.
Right. had it won, you would have told me.
I like you singing "Kick It Up a Notch" with Slash on.
Oh yes,
wrote that song with Slash. That's really cool.
Sang a song with Slash.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I will admit, even when we did "We're Back," which is the song that we just premiered.
Yeah, which is in the end credits.
Which is in the end credits of the song. I mean, we recorded that pretty recently. I think we can say that. Like, we recorded it during quarantine, so that came to me a lot later than the other music in the movie. And there's one song that, like, one of the near the end of the film songs that we have that I think is like, it's pretty up there in terms of Phineas and
Right up
Ferb
there with
songs.
Summer Belongs to You,
It's
isn't it?
really, really good. But also, We're Back, I felt that way about, where I was like, this is so remarkably catchy. Like, this is so catchy. I feel like people are going to want to sing it a lot. When I finally heard the mix of it, when I got it back with like all of the music with it, and not just me singing it in my bedroom into a microphone. So I do think there's stuff in this movie that people are really going to like.
Yeah.
Great. The next question is from Holly. Where did you get the shape for Phineas's head, and how long is the animation process from original drawing to final animation?
Right here. This.
Phineas's head shape was based on a real person. It's practically just a portrait.
No, I had, I'd worked on a lot of shows at the time that were, and usually you start with specific shape that everybody can draw to sort of build the head on. Homer was a fire plug, Bart was a coffee can. A lot of the old Looney Tunes was like an oval here and then two ovals here. And I was thinking nobody had ever really done a character whose head was based on a triangle. And so I was just sketching out some stuff at a restaurant, and I came up with this triangle-headed kid, and that I just immediately fell in love with him, and I felt like this is the show that I would want to see, and so that just happened. What was the other part of the question? Was how long it takes?
Yes, how long from drawing to final animation?
Well, from the first drawing of Phineas to the final animation on the first episode was about 16 years. But for one episode, when we start in the writer's room, it's about 10 months to finish one 11-minute episode.
And that's just because it takes me so many times to get it the way they like it.
Yeah, that's a lot of takes.
It's
that's
just Swampy's like, again.
Yes,
You went right this time, Vincent.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
You want a break? You want a break? Breaks are for winners. And
you have a break in 10 months when you get it right.
Yes, exactly. No, it's like there's a lot to be done in an animated show. So it's 10 months for an 11-minute episode. The movie actually took us 2.5 years. So it's a big, tremendous labor involving lots and lots of artists and editors and writers and musicians. It's a monumental feat to finish an animated film.
Yeah.
Great. Next question is from Tanya. What Easter eggs can fans keep an eye out for in this new movie?
Oh, I made a list at one point for somebody of all the Easter eggs in the movie, and there was a whole bunch of references. We tried to put as much in as we could, as long as it didn't slow down the story at all. There's references from the very first musical number. There's some backing vocalists that people will remember from a specific episode or actually from two episodes of the series. There's callbacks to things that work. We always try to say, as long as it works by itself, that's fine. As long as you don't have to have seen these episodes to enjoy this movie, that's fine. But we tried to fill it with as many Easter eggs as we could for the real fans.
Great. The next question is from Tessa Smith. What's your favorite invention that Phineas and Ferb have made over the years?
That's a tough one.
I still go back to the roller coaster because that was sort of the most pure, what would a 9-year-old boy make if he was unhampered by budget or schedule or, reality.
That was the first thing that Dan and I both, when we were brainstorming, thought, what would you do? It's like, oh yeah, build a roller coaster in the backyard. Absolutely.
And I've now seen on TikTok, I've now seen 3 different roller coasters, 2 in the United States, one in I think it's either Brazil or Argentina or something like that, where they've hit me on their TikTok, and they're building an actual roller coaster in their backyard and theming it around Perry the Platypus. And that, to me, that just sort of makes my life when I see people doing that, and taking the time to make something that actually works and having their friends ride it and stuff like that. It's like, well, that's legacy. That's the fact that these 20-year-olds are now, going to the trouble of doing the engineering and everything to make a roller coaster that goes, that has a big drop and then, like goes up a tree at the end so that it slides back down, and one of them had hydraulics that sent it off on its way. It's like, it's really spectacular. I don't know how these kids learn to do this, but it's spectacular.
Go them.
All right, the next question is from Vanessa Diaz. What is the message that you hope kids will take away from seeing this film?
Go to space. No.
You should definitely go to space if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the message is really that to appreciate what it is you have, and appreciate the people around you that love you, even if they're getting on your nerves. I think it's if you're gonna coalesce it into an actual message, I think that would be it.
Great. The next question is from Crystal Everdeen. Will Phineas and Ferb ever discover Perry's secret identity? And if so, how would they react?
Well, we actually did the movie we did for the channel, our Disney
once, yeah.
movie. We actually explored that, and then we of course had to erase their memory because we couldn't break the series. But Phineas was a little ticked off at first because he felt like, wait a minute, I thought we had this pet, human relationship. Wait, were you ever our pet, or were we just a cover for you? He was really sort of angered by it.
It was one of the first times that I was really upset in the series.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was really, angry and
One
sad.
of the rare times.
Yes, and I remember him yelling at Perry. It's like, really, this is it? Is anybody else here have a bizarre double life that they're hiding from me? And Ferb slowly put his hand up behind him, and Phineas, without even turning around, said, "Put your hand down, Ferb."
All right, our next question is from Tanya. Candace Against the Universe felt very sentimental. What are some of the best memories you have creating this film?
There were just the fact that Swampy and I finally got to make our show together. It was something that we had been trying to do for so long. So to me, the roller coaster episode, the first thing that we did, where it was really just him and me, and I boarded it in vacation in France with my wife's family, where we would go out and do day trips, and then I'd come home and draw all night. And then on the way back, we stopped in the UK and stayed at Swampy's place, and he and I put all the storyboards out on his kitchen table and sent our wives to the museums, which I think they ended up going shopping instead.
Yeah, probably fewer museums than shopping.
And we just like punched up all the gags, and we're putting Post-its here, and if we do this, if we move this to here. That to me was the thing that I always remember as sort of the most fun. And when we finally got Vincent Martella for Phineas, that was the hardest casting we had in the entire show. Because it was so hard to find somebody whose voice sounded optimistic and positive without sounding either nerdy or false
or arrogant
or arrogant. It's like there's a very fine line there, and we actually cast that twice with two other people, and then put it together and found out it did not work. And I think that
they all had
a lot of the reason
accidents.
The show, yes,
well,
they all
but I think
disappeared.
We promised not to talk about that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the success of the show rests on Vincent and Ashley's performances. I think that they're so good, and Vincent's voice makes him so likable from the very beginning. The first time kids see that voice, or see that character with that voice, he's a likable character. He's cool without being aloof. He's smart without being nerdy. He's everything because of that. And then Ashley playing off of that was fantastic.
And it was that one line, "Aren't you a little young to be a roller coaster engineer?" And yes, yes, I am can either sound like, yeah, jerk, of course or it can sound like, thank you. And
Yeah.
Constance Reed made that so clearly sound like, thank you.
Yeah.
That just like, oh yeah, okay, we're done.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of both of you to say. I appreciate that.
We weren't going to tell him that, Dan. Why did you?
Yeah.
It's
Ignore
been over 10
Now he's
years.
going to want more money for the sequel.
Yes, it's been over 10 years. They've never said something so nice about me.
Well, we want to keep his head to a regular size.
All right, the next question is from Sarah Lump's sister, Val, who happens to be a public school teacher. So when summer
Excellent.
vacation finally ends, will Phineas and Ferb be attending in-person school or doing virtual learning at home?
First of all, thank you for being a teacher. My daughter's a teacher, and that's just the coolest gig.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know that, like if we were doing the series right now, we would probably do a bit about quarantine. I think that would be something that I'd like to explore what they would do during that time. I think hopefully by the time anything that we would make now would be done, hopefully quarantine will be over. That's like knock on wood. But we did do an episode where everybody was sick and they did a Zoom call together. It was sort of before Zoom actually existed. But
now everybody's posting on social media like we're some sort of future prediction wizards.
Yes. So I think it would be interesting to see how they would handle being stuck in the house. I think that would be a fun episode to write.
All right, and our last question of this Q&A comes from Megan Harrell. She wants to know, how intentional were all the jokes that went over kids' heads? Like examples, jokes about Alexa technology, misunderstanding humans, grammar jokes. And were these put in just for the parents? And if so, she wants to say thank you.
Well, two things. I think many of the jokes that you think are going over the kids' heads probably aren't. But the truth is, Dan's always said that we do these things just to make each other laugh. It's a bunch of people sitting in the room trying to make each other laugh. So we just never take out a joke because we specifically think that the kids might not get it. It's okay that there's stuff in there for the parents and the grandparents and the older siblings and the aunts and uncles. We leave those in, but I also think the kids get a lot more of them than people think they're going to.
And also we try to put in as many jokes as we can so that if the kid doesn't get a joke, they don't have time to get bored. There's another joke coming for them in 5 seconds. So we always try to do that. And, and kids love jokes about the intricacies of grammar. We found that that's
absolutely.
That's true.
Or as I once said after we did the Star Wars crossover episode, kids just love Tom Stoppard references.
Yes, exactly.
I know. They don't.
All right, so that was our final question, but I just want to remind all the bloggers that Phineas and Ferb, the movie Candace Against the Universe, is streaming this Friday on Disney+. And Dan and Swampy, I'm going to let you, and Vincent, I'm going to let you guys just say goodbye and, whatever else you want to say to wrap it up. So.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for coming and listening to us blather on about this and that, which is our favorite thing to do.
And thanks for being fans of the show and for watching it with your families and for everybody who's supported us all these years. Genuinely, thank you for giving me the opportunity to keep doing this job for so long.
Yeah, thank you guys for spending summer with us. This has been really, really fun. It's been a lot of time and love has been put into the show. So I hope everyone loves the movie, and thank you for letting us keep making you guys laugh.